look at Spider-Man here. Everything we need to know about Marvel Spider-Man 2.
With great power comes great responsibility, and with a great game comes, hopefully, a great sequel. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, a follow-up to 2018's Marvel's Spider-Man and 2020's Marvel's Spider-Man Miles
Mr.
Morales, will
Worldwide.
be web-swinging its way to eager players very soon, pairing up the two renditions.
I seen a funny-ass comment
dropping a bunch of
on TikTok. They was posting the face of what was it, MJ's new face model in Spider-Man 2. Mary Jane face model Spider-Man 2. Where's it at? Let's see. Is it in the news? Oh, well, I mean, that's it. Mary Jane. That's the same shit. That's it, right? Nah, like I feel like it looked worse. But anyways, they were like showing it on TikTok, and in the comment section, people were saying that like, imagine you have to go out and fight Venom, and then you got to come home to this. And I was like, bruh, like it's only bad to say that because like isn't apparently they modeled Mary Jane after the actual voice actor. That's why the face is like that. So like, yo, if the voice actor sees that shit, like you're calling a real person ugly as fuck. I'm like, god damn, bro. Shit, none of my business. It's a good thing I'm not trying to fuck video game characters. I'm like, yo, these is wild on the internet.
Into the webhead's world. Here's everything you need to know about Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and spoiler warning for the previous two releases. Spider-Man 2 is set 10 months after Miles Morales, which itself was set a year after the first game in the franchise.
So basically 2 years.
Peter Parker.
Yo, shout out to Steez with the sub. Appreciate you.
Turned villain Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus.
That's crazy because like that means that New York just never rests. It's always carnage. It's always crime. It's always supervillains everywhere. Did y'all hear that? The events of Spider-Man 1 to Morales to Spider-Man 2 have all happened in less than 2 years. Who the fuck wants to live in New York? Yo, shout out to Black Hoodie with the sub.
Downfall began when the development funding for his mechanical arms project is pulled by Mayor Norman Osborn in order to force Octavius into working for Osborn's own business.
Yo, shout out to Jabba with the sub.
Enraged by Osborn's actions and mentally manipulated by his mechanical arms, Octavius breaks into and unleashes upon New York City the occupants of the Raft, a maximum security prison which includes several members of Spidey's Rogues Gallery, including the recently incarcerated Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, another one of Peter's mentors.
That guy's too negative.
And this Parker kid needs to start finding some better role models. Doc Ock's true goal is to secure the Devil's Breath, a deadly virus that was initially developed by Oscorp in an attempt to cure Osborn's son Harry, who had developed the terminal illness that claimed his mother's life. Along with the Raft escapees, Octavius unleashes the virus upon New York City.
This is actually good because I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember all this.
He is. He faces off against his old mentor and is able to secure an antidote to the Devil's Breath. However, he faces a grave choice.
I just remember fighting Doc Ock. I don't remember why.
The entire city, but it will take time to develop.
I remember fighting on the side of the building. That fight was fire.
Peter's Aunt May, herself dying from the virus. May helps stay Peter's hand from using the antidote on her, revealing that
like, what the fuck, bitch, sweating hard as hell and shit. Like, you gotta be that close to her face during the passing?
She knew all along he was Spider-Man and that she was proud of him before passing away. And it's a real goddamn tearjerker. During the course of the game, Peter's new friend, Miles Morales, gets bitten by a radioactive spider.
Are we getting a summary of the first game?
Next year, Peter
the video is titled Spider-Man 2, Everything We Know.
Spider-Man Miles Morales. As Peter heads out of town with his girlfriend Mary Jane Watson, a new villain, the Tinkerer, shows up on the scene. It's revealed that
was his
the Tinkerer
homegirl,
is
right?
Miles' childhood friend Finn, whose brother Rick worked for another shady
Zendaya
called Roxxon on an experimental energy source known as Newform. Rick became sick from the development of Newform and ultimately died in an explosion of the unstable substance when he and Finn
had that
broke
watch time.
into Roxxon.
Nah, like people do
of Newform's
people
numerous
do
faults.
videos like this because what's the name? Spider-Man 2 is coming out next week. So it's good to put a video out this week because there's gonna be people searching because they're like I'm pretty sure most people in the chat have played the other Spider-Man games, but not everybody has, and they might not want to go back. So like it's just like a summary video for people who, to be honest, like I don't remember all the events. It's good.
It makes
It's
you
useful
sick
content.
and it explodes. A bad guy's fever dream. Ultimately, Finn plans to blow up a new form reactor to reveal its dangers to the world, without realizing that doing
I searched
so
for this
would
when the
destroy
last
most
Star
of
Wars
Harlem.
dropped. See,
Miles shows up to stop
some
her
people
and
didn't play
succeeds in
Jedi
showing
Fallen
Finn the
Order.
error of her ways. Finn flies the unstable reactor high above the city, saving Harlem but sacrificing herself in the process. 10 months after this tragic event is where Spider-Man 2 begins. Harry Osborn is back and seemingly cured, which in the previous 2 games was teased
Something
to
of a
involve
scientist
the infamous
myself.
symbiote somehow. At some point in the game, Peter will acquire the symbiote, giving him not only his iconic black suit, but a cringe-inducing bad boy persona. I'm sorry, it just doesn't suit you people. Aided by the suit's new
That was
abilities,
iconic. What
the
is he
two
talking about?
Spider-Men will be facing villains such as the Lizard and Kraven, who is in town to hunt down its various
fit.
superpowered good guys and bad guys. If that wasn't bad enough, at some point, Peter will lose the
Is it worth
symbiote
getting a
to
PS5
someone
though?
else, who then becomes
Me personally, I don't think any one game is worth getting a PS5. It has to be a game that's like revolutionary, like mind blowing or some shit like that. Like, there's got to be like 2-3 games for me to want to get it. Well, I always get the new platform because it's my job. But like, if it wasn't my job, you got to have like 2-3 things on there that you want to play.
Venom, a much bigger and much badder Spider-Man.
Because once you beat that one game, it's just
Don't know
gonna
who is underneath the gooey
just gonna
exterior
collect
of
dust.
this character just yet. Although it's been teased in several promos for the game that it's Harry. We do know, however, that Eddie Brock, the original Venom from the comics, is not the villain's secret identity.
Who y'all
Feature
think gonna be Venom, chat? Who y'all think gonna be Venom?
of Spider-Man 2 will be the black symbiote suit, which will bring a suite of new abilities to Peter's web-slinging persona. While the costume was initially planned
Harry?
during the first game's production,
I feel like it's too obvious. I don't feel like it'll be Harry. Because I feel like everything pointed towards Harry. I feel like that would be too obvious. Like there's gonna be some type of plot twist. Kingpin. All right, get the fuck out of here.
an unlockable
I think Kraven.
title, conversation
That would be interesting. That'd be a spin. Because keep in mind, this is not Earth 1 Spider-Man. This is like Earth 3. This is their own universe. So like, was it Insomniac they have the right to be creative with the storyline. So it's like I was saying, like, I hope they do something different with it.
and saved for a bigger story centered around it, which would evolve into this newest release. Development on Spider-Man 2 started while development on Spider-Man Miles Morales was in full swing.
Goddamn.
A different team tackling that slightly smaller experience. Since this game will feature the symbiote storyline, it has been described as a darker title, and The Empire Strikes Back to the first game's A New Hope. The first game saw the death of Miles' father Jefferson, Peter betrayed by not only one, but 2 of his mentors, and ended with the death of his aunt. So we'll have to wait and see how much more messed up things can get for the Walker.
Man, why this shit not gonna be on PS4?
In Spider-Man 2, you'll be playing as both Peter Parker.
Man, I look at the game on YouTube. I feel like my PS4 can run this shit, bro. What the fuck, bro? They hating, man.
Miles Morales' renditions of the Wallcrawler. During missions, the game will be picking.
Yo, shout out to Jiggy Samurai with the sub.
But in the open world, you'll be able to switch between the two at any time at lightning fast speed, thanks to the PS5.
You have to play the first one to play this one?
Spider-Man can web swing.
Well, I mean, this is what this video is for, to do a
find
catch-up.
themselves by their differing additional abilities. Peter Parker has an arsenal of gadgets to draw from, while Miles Morales distinguishes himself with bioelectric powers, which are called Venom, which is just confusing. Because the Spideys share some elements, but are also distinct in places, each webhead is getting their own skill tree, and then we'll have a shared skill tree as well. A new element that distinguishes the
PS4
old
from the blow up trying to
Spider-Man
play
is
this,
the
turn into Oppenheimer.
symbiote bonded to him.
It's the
Peter
same
gains
engine. I see why not. Uh-oh.
offensive abilities,
We spotted the PS4 player in here.
aggression, slimy tentacles, and painful takedowns. To make matters worse for those in Peter's crosshairs, he'll also be outfitted with mechanical arms, originally from the Iron
Yeah,
Spider.
we got one. I feel like the game could run on the PS4, but it's not gonna look anywhere near as good. Because like when they first revealed the gameplay, I could see the difference. A lot of with next gen gaming, the difference is in the lighting and like the reflections, and a lot of that is very taxing on the system, and that's why your PS4 can't run it. I don't want to say it can't, but it's not gonna look as good. So it's like the thing. I think it has more to do with like keeping the creative vision intact. And it's like, as an artist, how much do you want to sacrifice your vision to appease niggas who refuse to upgrade? You know what I'm saying? God of War Ragnarok was on there. Ragnarok wasn't that impressive looking to me. It looked exactly the same as 2018. I don't really feel like we're gonna have a conversation about that game one day. Like, I don't really feel like that thing pushed the boundaries of anything. It's louder than the TV.
Into their own,
but like, I can see the difference in the lighting effects when they play the gameplay.
Don't start mind controlling Peter.
Hey, maybe one day they will bring it to the PS4. Maybe one day. Guys, keep hoping. Keep fighting for your 10-year-old hardware. Keep fighting.
On the accessibility side, Marvel Spider-Man 2 builds.
We're gonna be in 2035, and niggas gonna be like, man, you think it's gonna be on the PS4, bro?
Insomniac's work to make its games more accessible and approachable. One interesting feature will allow for gameplay to be slowed down in increments of 30, 50, and 70%, and regular speed can be resumed at any time. This will be useful for some players, as the speed of the game has been greatly increased thanks to the PS5's SSD architecture. While this game will be set in, you guessed it, New York City once again, the dual Spideys won't just be limited to the borough of Manhattan. They'll both get to explore their home boroughs of Queens.
So why are material things used to brag and insult others? Kind of lame. Not you, but the chat always sees the opportunity. I don't know what you're in reference to. If you're talking about like us talking about like consoles, don't take the conversation that seriously, bro. We're just talking about video games. If you got a PS4, just say it, nigga. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
as such, Insomniac claims the game's map is twice the size.
Like, fucking chill. It's just a joke.
It's
clutching the PS4's boy.
As well as deal with the fact that
it's literally just jokes. Nobody's serious, bro.
Spider-Man have web wings, webbing connected to the sides of the Spidey's costumes that allows them to glide in order to maximize speed and efficiency. While
the PS4 is useful though. Let's say winter coming, you need something to heat the room up.
With gliding, and for big boosts of acceleration, the Spider-Man can take.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really weird, and this is like a new phenomena. I blame the Xbox 360, PS3 era. Like, when I was a kid, this was never a thing. Like, when the new platforms came out, within 2 years, usually everybody had already upgraded, because there's like that grace period, the first like 2 to 3 years. Because we get it, like, not everybody can get it like day one. But ever since the 360 PS3 era, where I think those consoles lasted like 7-8 years, and then the PS4 and the Xbox One, the same thing. Like, people just like refuse to like upgrade, but you gotta understand, like, that shit holds that shit holds the art form back.
Take advantage of wind tunnels to essentially fly through the city.
PS4 came out holidays 2013. I think what it is I think it's because we live in this social media age. People don't know how long ago the PS4 came out. Like I said, it literally came out 10 years ago. By literal definition, the starting point for retro is 10 years. The PS4 is a retro platform. Like, and in computing processing power doubles every year and a half. Like, so by computer standards, the PS4 is fucking old. Like, I just think people perception of time has been warped because the internet moves so fast now. You don't realize how fast things have moved.
Net players an early unlock of a suit for both Peter and Miles to wear, an early unlock of the new web grabber gadget.
I'd literally play a PS2 if I could. I don't care about upgrading. Yeah, that's fine.
The Digital Deluxe Edition, which retails for $80.
This is also a business, though. People got to make money, and then what about the people who do want to upgrade? It ain't all about you.
Also gets 2 additional skill points and some.
Go play an emulator. Problem solved.
Finally, the collector's edition of the game includes all of the above, retails for $230, and includes a steelbook case, and, in PlayStation's own words, 19 inches of venom. Needless to say,
bro, if things were normal though, the PS5 would be down to $400 by now, and by holiday next year it would be $300.
Everything you need.
I don't know about $300. Maybe drop it like $50. I don't know, like a full, maybe like $350, like at best. Yeah, I mean, there was like a chip shortage. That's a economic global issue, because a lot of things use those parts, but I don't know if it would have been down to like $300. That being said, like, I don't feel bad for anybody, because at the end of the day, gaming is not a poor man's hobby. You know what you was getting into. Save your money.
Need to know.
And if you had to choose between eating and playing your damn video game, I hope you chose eating. You don't need to. Here's the thing, like, here's one for you guys, right? You don't need to play Spider-Man 2, guys. You don't need to play it. You want to play it. Don't ever forget that. You don't need to play Modern Warfare 3. I feel like a lot of y'all forget that shit. Once again, I think it's because the internet is like kind of warped people's perception. Everybody feels like they got to be part of the conversation. They don't want to miss out. Like FOMO is at an all-time high thanks to the internet. You see cool clips and stuff like that. But friendly reminder, you do not have to play Spider-Man day one. You can play it 2 years from now when it's on sale, and it'll be the same great game. This is why I've always argued against. I've countered people that like, does it suck? Game prices are going up to $70. Sure, it does. Like, I don't want to pay more for it either. But then to give you another perspective, it's like realistically, outside of maybe the content creators you follow, who else is buying every major game? And it's a tax write-off for me, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, are you really out here buying every major game day one? Most likely not. By the time you get to it, it's probably $30-$40 because you got to beat them one at a time, or you just don't have the time because you have a significant other, you have to work. Like, niggas be sound like crybabies, bro. You could literally put away $100 for 7 years to get a new console.
On the game, including our review,
that we're required to be responsible.
Stick to GameSpot.
My package came in the mail. Yeah, you putting down payments on fucking consoles? That's crazy, bro. I'll put $200 down and then I'll pay the rest off in the next 5 years. You guys got a 10-year plan? We're only gonna pay $5 a month? Hell yeah. They're like, bro, your priorities is fucked up. Let's look at this new controller. I have not heard anything about this. Behind the scenes.
This is the PlayStation.
Let's look at the hands on it.
A new accessibility.
Oh, it's an accessibility controller. Okay.
It's coming out later this year, and we just got our hands on it.
People use a firm for games, really?
The Access controller is an incredibly customizable controller aimed at helping gamers with disabilities have a more comfortable experience. When you use the standard DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5,
is there anybody with disabilities in the chat? Do y'all find stuff like this useful? I'm genuinely ignorant. I'm not trying to be funny or not like that. I'm genuinely curious.
Unfortunately, many people can't use this controller this way due to factors like the buttons being too small or densely packed together. As such, players with impaired motor control often have to adapt.
I've seen people use their feet, mouth. Yeah, I've seen that stuff before too. They be bodying people in games. That's the crazy part.
And if the gamer's needs change, it can continue to change too. Unlike the DualSense, it has no preferred orientation. You can position it in any direction you'd like and set the PS5 to
like my brain can't comprehend
it features a joystick
how this works if it only has one analog stick.
It can also be slid and locked closer and further from the base. The base has 8 standard inputs arranged in a circle and 1 large button in the middle. You can assign these to whatever controller input you'd like. Multiple buttons can also have the same function. For example, if you'd like the X input to show up in 2 separate places. Players can even assign multiple functions to a single button, such as pairing L3 and R3 together, a common but somewhat awkward request in games that requires players to press
probably cool for fighting games.
Like,
how does this work with Spider-Man?
These large white buttons magnetize into place, and you can slot in labels to help you remember. Personally, I found the removal process a bit challenging, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone needed assistance when first setting this up.
Oh,
Toggle mode is a new function for the Access controller. Often, racing games will require the player to hold down the R2 button to continually have their race car accelerate.
I'm guessing the middle will be a touchpad for moving the camera. I see somebody playing Street Fighter 6 in the background.
And the game will read it as a continual press, similar to holding down the Shift key versus using caps lock on a keyboard. Now, when racing,
yeah, I need to see him move the camera with it,
and only has to focus on steering and using the brakes. Using the controller felt great. The buttons were secure and sturdy, and the number of different shapes was great to see. PlayStation mentioned that there will be a 1 to 2 week immersion period in order to get used to a new controller layout. Personally, I did have to kind of rewire
of course,
my brain to remember where everything was in the short time I had with it. Along the side of the Access are 4 3.5mm inputs for attaching additional accessories. PlayStation is partnering with Logitech for a number of these, and we were shown some of the extra buttons, levers, and
like
able to connect. Underneath the controller,
why didn't they? I feel like it'd be more appropriate to hire somebody with disabilities to bring them in and test it, so we can actually see how. At least if I was a person with a disability, I want to see somebody with a disability use it, so I can try to see how that maps into my world. Versus this nigga looks mad regular.
To help it stay,
and it also would just help me, because like I said, I'm genuinely ignorant about this shit. It helped me understand like how they use it.
The Access controller can also be paired with multiple additional controllers, whether that be a second Access or a standard DualSense. This opens up further customization options depending on the gamer's needs. For example, the left hand can use a DualSense for character movement, while the right hand uses the Access to avoid the densely packed face buttons on the standard controller.
That's interesting. Is that easier though? That's why I said I need to see somebody like actually. Is that easier?
I'm not fucking leaving.
I feel like that looks harder. Yo, shout out to DJ Skills controlling the camera with a controller in one hand and then using the disability controller in the right. I feel like that's more difficult.
Located just under the analog stick is the profile button. The access supports
I'm
up to
disabled, but
3
that looks more
profiles that you can
complicated than the
toggle
regular
between
one.
each
Okay,
one.
thank you, Wills Warrior.
This
So I'm
allows
not
you
crazy.
to assign different layouts and orientations for different games. This was great to see because the same configuration doesn't always work for every situation. This ease of use extends to the package design that the controller comes in. The box is configured to allow you to open everything with one hand.
That's
Everything
cool.
inside is laid out flat in front of you with nothing overlapping or hidden away. We were told the PlayStation Access controller has a battery life similar to the DualSense, which puts it around 7 to 9
I'm
hours.
surprised nobody in the chat, man, they got this for the PS4? No, this is for the 5. Man, we need it for the 4.
On December 6th for $90 and is available for pre-order now.
I don't even know if that's a good price or
It's
not.
great that PlayStation is thinking about accessibility like this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.
This seems like a money grab so disabled people can buy it. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, just because like I said, I don't know. Like, I'm not educated enough on the topic to make a statement like that. I can't agree with that. Interesting though.